Fine. In the next few sessions, we are going to discuss about the Unit 5, where we'll be having discussions on uh, concept of object-oriented programming, object, few examples, and the analysis of the object-oriented principles, inheritance, polymorphism, and finally, we'll be end up with the processing files. Okay. Today, I am planning to cover the first three topics because they're very small. Uh, Content is very low. So, I'll explain the concepts of object-oriented programming, definition of an object, examples, with a case study, a stack, a procedural approach. Fine. Okay. A brief introduction to the basic concepts of object programming. So in this session, we are going to discuss about the object-oriented programming concepts, properties, inheritance, processing files, and all the programs and techniques we have used till now fall under either procedural language or structural language. So object-oriented programming is a new style of programming language that enhances the efficiency of the programming. Whereas the procedural or structure style of programming was the dominant approach in the earlier beginning of the programming, and few concepts are still in use today. And moreover, it is not going to disappear, and yeah, it works well for specific type of projects. It has own its limitations in the procedural and structural language. So all these drawbacks, demerits, or technical flaws are, are corrected, verified, and enhanced in the form of object-oriented programming. The object approach is quite young, okay, and is particularly useful when it is applied to big and complex projects, whereas the structural or procedural language has its own limitations. It may not be applicable to big and complex objects, which is carried out by a large teams consisting of many developers. This kind of understanding of a project structure makes many important tasks easier. That is, dividing the project or a task into small and independent parts. Okay, and these independent developments of different elements can be carried out separately. Python is a universal tool for both object and procedural programming. Python supports both cases. It supports procedural programming concepts and object programming as well. So it may be successfully utilized in both spheres of both cases. And furthermore, we can create a lots of useful applications. Even if you have no knowledge about the classes and objects, but you have to keep in mind that some of the problems, for example, the GUI, graphical user interface handling, may require strict object-oriented approach. Otherwise, a procedural knowledge will be enough to work with the Python. So fortunately, object-oriented programming is relatively simple in case of Python programming, right? Every object, we are speaking about the object programming, no? Every object is an entity that is described by its characteristics. For example, if we say a student is an object. What are the characteristics of a student? Student is identified by a unique register number, name, and then address, qualification, branch, semester-wise marks, and finally completed and the class, first class or distinction, okay, or medal, okay, winners, right, or second class, or a student has incomplete, failed. So all these are called properties. So every object has a set of traits which are called as properties. In other ways, it is also called as attributes. So these attributes, properties are applied to define a class. So a new class inherit properties and methods from the originals. So creating more specific tools, right? So objects are incarnations of ideas expressed in classes. So for another, I can say simple example, a cake in your plate. A cake in our plate is an incarnation of idea expressed in a recipe. We know what are the ingredients required to prepare a cake, right? We need flour, then other milk, little bit of egg, okay? Then all the necessary uh, uh, things added together, and after some time it needs to be baked, right? So a cake in our plate is an incarnation of idea expressed in the recipe. The objects interact with each other, like all the ingredients interact with each other, finally results in the form of a cake. So hence, the same way, the objects also interact with each other, exchanging data or activating the methods. A properly constructed class are able to protect a sensible data and hide it from unauthorized modifications. So they are called private, protected. Furthermore, they are classified. So here I had explained, projected an example vehicle. Vehicles are related by a single important feature. Vehicle, in general term, it is called vehicle. Okay, so vehicle means a machine or instrument or a device, a tool, ability to move. Okay, if we say vehicle class is very broad, too broad. We have to define some more specialized classes then. The specialized classes are called subclasses. The vehicle class will have a superclass for them all. Okay, and that is expressed in the form of a hierarchy. Okay, the hierarchy grows from top to bottom like a tree roots. The most general and the widest class is always at the top, which is called as superclass or parent class. Okay, we say superclass or parent. Okay, so by now we can probably point out some of the potential subclasses for the vehicle superclass. If vehicle is a superclass, then its potential or probably subclasses are land vehicles, water vehicles, air and space. These are called subclasses. Okay, so we have four subclasses: land, water, air and space. In this example, we will discuss the first subclass only, land vehicles, okay, which may further divided depending on the method with which they impact the ground. So further we can enumerate wheeled vehicles, tracked vehicles and hovercrafts. And the hierarchy we have created are represented in the figure. Note the direction of the arrows, arrows here is represented. No, they always point to the superclass. All the subclasses are children, okay, or point towards its parent. These are three children to the parent land vehicle. Land, water, air and space are another children to the superclass vehicle. Fine. Now what is a class? The object, to know about the object, first we should learn and understand what is class. A class is a set of objects. It's a set, a template. We can say it's a container. Okay. A box where so many small boxes, items are stored. So object represents an entity. Okay, so the name of the object and its characteristics are collected together, and this template is called a class. So an object is a being belonging to a class. Object is a member of the class. It should point towards the class. Okay. Uh, Kindly excuse, we have some programs in the auditorium. Okay. I think time to move. I'll just give me a minute. I'll move to some other classroom. Right? Classes form a hierarchy. This may mean that an object belonging to a specific class belong to all the superclasses. An object which is defined in a class can be accessed by a superclass. Superclass is similar to superadmin, who has control over all the users. Okay, for a group of users, as like several districts, okay, form a state. A group of states form a nation. Who is the head of the nation? For similar to a village, and belonging to the specific class. So all the super classes are the same. Okay, so in the same example, if a wheeled vehicle class, the previous example, if wheeled vehicle is a class, then an object, can you give an example for an object? It is a car. So a car is an object. So a class can have several objects. Car, okay, wheeled vehicles, even bike, it's a wheeled vehicles, trucks, very large heavy vehicles are all part of wheeled vehicle. So a car is an object of the class. A class can have several objects. Okay. Next, what does the class object have? Having understood about the concept of class, please note a class is a template. Class is a template. It's a kind similar to container. Okay, it's a template. Members of a template are called object. Okay, and every object is understood with its properties, characteristics, its name, and other features. They are all part of the class, and every class is a member of superclass. Okay, so when a class accesses the object, superclass also has the power, rights to access the object. Right? Now, what does the object have? As I said, there are the object programming convention assumes that every existing object may be equipped with three group of attributes. Every object is understood with three group of attributes, or we can say three compartments. Okay, if we say car is an object which is understood in the name of three attributes, basic attributes. There may be any number of attributes, but three fundamental attributes should have. These three attributes are called three compartments. First, an object must have a name, unique name. Second, its properties, characteristics. Third, object which has a set of abilities to perform activities, operations. What are all the work or activities, tasks performed by the object? These are the three important attributes: name, properties, and activities. Activities are similar to operations. So an object is identified with this three group of attributes. Fine. And let me say another example. Max. Max is a large cat. A family of cat is a max which sleeps all the day. Okay. So if we compare with the attributes, name is similar to noun, that is max. Properties, a large in size. Okay. Activities, what should we usually do? It have food and sleep all the day. So this is how we can analyze and understand the concept of object programming: name, properties, and activities. So according to the activities, the appropriate operations can be applied. Right? So object has basically three attributes: name, properties, and activities. Okay. We have another example, object programming, which is an art of defining and expanding the classes. So it is defined with the name of start with a keyword class. It's a predetermined keyword reserved word followed by the name of the class, finally ended with a colon. Then we have the block, class block, which is similar to if structure. We have if block, right? Okay. Even the function, we have function block. So every class is defined with a keyword class followed by the class name. Then we have a block, a set of statements to support. Okay, this block may have the description of the three attributes: name, properties, and activities. So inside the class, the objects are defined, they are applied, activities are incorporated, and they do some operations and come with the result. So the definitions begin with the keyword class followed by an identifier, a name of the class. Then we have the description of objects, its attributes, properties, activities, and so on. Right? So when we define a new class, with the help of the reference, we can define a class, a tool that is able to create new objects. We can create new objects with reference to the already defined class. For example, the class name is our class, right? Class name is class name. What is the name of the class? It's our class. With reference to the our class, we can create new objects. Our object is equal to our class, which is already defined. So the newly defined class beginning becomes a tool and which is able to create a new object. Our object 1, our object 2, object 3, object 4 up to n can become the members of the class. And we need to assign a variable to store the newly created object of the class and create an object at the same time. So we define a class and then objects. Then third step, these characteristics of the objects, the three properties could be assigned appropriately and we can proceed with the operations. Is it clear? So all we need to first define the class, then the number of objects, then after objects are defined, the attributes, name, properties, and activities can be applied. Later it will be processed. Fine. Is it clear? So objects are incarnations of ideas expressed in the form of classes. So a class is a set of objects. An object is being belonging to for a class. Classes form a hierarchy. Okay. So objects belonging to a specific class belong to all the superclasses also at the same time. Define a class with a keyword followed by objects are defined. Their properties are further defined, explored for the programming executions. Okay. Is it clear? Any doubts? Is it clear? Okay. Now let us move on to the example of a stack, a procedural approach. Stack is a very popular application of a data structure. Okay. What is a stack? A kind of data structure that supports store data in a specific way, that is, in IT terminology, it is called last in, first out. Last, the latest one, okay, should be the first out to leave. So the stack can be described within a graphical representation. It's similar to a tray holder. Initially, the tray holder is empty. The first tray will be placed at the bottom, second tray, third tray, fourth tray, fifth and sixth till the space available of the space. So the latest one, the last tray will appear at the surface, at the top. So the last data, the last tray or the item will appear at the top. And the last one is the first to be removed. If you like to remove one, we have to remove 5, 4, 3, 2, and then only the first item can be removed. So that's why it is called last in, first out. The latest item inserted will be the first to be removed from this kind of storage. This representation is called stack. So a stack is a linear data structure where the elements are stored in last in, first out fashion. So the first item will be placed at the bottom and the last will appear at the top. That is the surface of the storage container. So the element which is inserted, added at the latest will be the first to be removed. So it is called last in, first out. Last in, first out. So one by one. So the second last will be removed later, the third last, fourth last. And the first item will be the last to be removed. This kind of data structure is called stack. So a linear data structure where elements are inserted and deleted. Okay, the deletion will be the last one. The first item will be stored at the bottom. The top, what is available in the top? That's the latest item, the last one. So usually, what are the operations we can perform is insertion and deletion. These are the two basic fundamental operations could be done in this kind of stack data structure. Okay, so the pseudocode for this is a stack an object with two elementary operations, insert and delete. The insert is called push when a new element is put on the top. Pop means remove, delete. Pop represents delete, and the push is called insertion operation, adding. Adding a new item is called push or insert. Removing the existing item is called pop or deletion. When an existing element is removed from the top, is called pop. Okay, so a linear data structure where push removes the latest, the top, and push at the top, and pop removes the existing element of the latest one. Right? Now, how can we apply this in the Python programming? So the two operations are insertion and deletion, push, pop. And finally, whenever we insert, the number of items are added, incremented by 1. When we remove an item, delete, when we pop, the total number is decremented. So at the end, we should check the net result, update the count. So push, pop, and display are the three basic operations of stack. Now, first initialize the stack as a list. Second, Second, step 2 defines the push operation, that is insert. So insert a value. So insertion is done with the help of append. We know append. The append function adds a new item at the end. Okay, at the end. So the stack, which is the vertical form, can also be represented in the form of horizontal graph. Horizontal, the top appears at the rightmost end. So append function will add an item at the end, at the latest end, rightmost end. So define the function and stack.append. This function will add a new item into the stack. Pop, how will you do the pop? Pop removes the existing item. Please note existing, which means the stack of -1. First, we need to identify the latest item, right? Isn't it or not? We have to locate the item. We need to check which item data is appear at the top. So locating, identifying at the top is done with the help of -1. Hope you remember when we are using the slicing operator, we have introduced the -1, the position, indexing operation. So locate the -1, this will give the top, the rightmost item, del the item and return to the previous, the latest one. So -1 again, as I explained. Hope you remember the indexing operation. In general, we start from left to right, traversing from left to right. The memory location is accessed from 0, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on, from left to right. Right? If you like to have it in the right to left, then that will be represented as -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. It is also traversing, indexing from right to left also permitted, valid. But generally we do left to right practice. So -1 is nothing but the last, the latest, the item appears at the top. So locate the item, latest item at the top. The position is -1. This is what here it is referenced. So stack of -1 identifies the last item. The data appears at the top of the stack. This stack can be also represented in the vertical format, right? It's a graphical representation. In either way, we can do it. H, E, L, L, O, and so on. So the stack of -1 retrieves the existing item at the top. Then the top item. Return val, it will refresh. So return val, now after deleting the top, the L becomes at the top. So push adds a new item, inserts a new data into the stack. Pop, first check the latest item, the top element, and val is equal to stack of 1. Then apply DEL, the item. Okay. Then we have to refresh the stack. So return val will refresh, now the pointer will point towards to the next location. L will be the top now, stack of 1. And finally print the output, display, because when we apply push, a new item is added. When we apply a pop, it is decremented. So the status, after several times of insertion and deletion, finally we should know what is the count, right? That will be done with the help of a print function. Fine, hope it's clear to you. Now moving on, I'll switch to, yes, PyCharm editor, a stack open list. Initially the list is empty, because when you push, it will be added into the empty list. Okay, so stack dot append, the append operation adds a new item, append of val. Val is nothing but the variable. Okay, definition, function is defined, the variable with the help of this. Okay, arguments, the values are supplied. So how it is supplied? Push 1, it is added to the stack. Push 2, the second item will become the top. Push 3, the third. So the stack which was defined empty later will have 1, 2 and 3. Next definition pop. So locate the top one, the rightmost item, del the rightmost item, and refresh the val. That is, they are removed. The next second top will be appear as a new item at the front. Right. So before deleting the stack, the deleted item, the pop will give the deleted item. So after several performances operations, the latest will be identified with the help of the print function. Right? Push new item, delete the existing item, and print the recent size. Right? So let us run the program and check the code. Okay. Yes. So before deleting, we have pushed 1, 2, 3. They are stored in the list. The deleted item is pop, isn't it? Definition pop, a function which is deleted. One appears at the bottom. Next, the second will be 2, and the top we have 3. So stack will identify the latest one, last in first node. The last element inserted, pushed into the stack is 3. This is identified by stack of 1 with the help of indexing. Deleted the stack of 1 and return 1, 2. The list is refreshed. Now at the end, the stack has 2 data, 1, 2. Okay, so we can add as many as possible. This is a simple program. We can extend to more generalized form also. We can decide how many items to be. Now push 4. Yes. So 1, 2, 3, 4. The deleted is 4 is the latest one. After deleting 4, the list now refreshed to 1, 2, Please note, at one point of time, we can add only one element. Only one is pushed and only one can be removed. So it has to be done sequentially. That's why I said it's a linear data structure, where pushing or popping could be done linearly, one after other. Fine. Any doubts? Okay. Let us stop here and continue in the next session.